Welcome back to House of Champions. Normally, we do a pro wrestling history challenge, but today we are going to be doing something completely different. We always want to give you guys more behind the scenes footage, the little knows, the ins and outs of wrestling. Today we're going to be breaking the ring down. We're showing you the different layers of the wrestling ring, how we break down everything. So there's only one question remaining. Who's ready? Not what I was expecting. That's a little disappointing, guys. A little disappointing. Top layer, you'll see the 3 ropes, you'll see the turnbuckles, we'll see the pads. You see the lovely canvas that we have. Underneath the canvas, we have a layer of padding to obviously try to keep us as safe as possible. Underneath that, we have our 20 by 20 planks that go across the ring. Underneath that, we have our main steel beams that go across the ring, and then underneath we have more supporting beams that go underneath, and then it's finally the side panels, and then it's the posts that hold the ring all together. So we got a lot to break down today. George, can I get that rope when you're done? So there's actually very, very important. So how the ropes, because we're one of the few wrestling schools that have real ropes, the way that you actually clamp the ring together. So it's kind of hard to tell because it's just all tied up together, but we use hose clamps just like they do in WWE. So the rope will actually go through all 3 of them, but then loop back into the other 2 and tied. And then on top of it, we use this cloth so it goes over the clamps, so that all we have to do is just take this off, take the towel off, and then we'll be able to adjust the ropes when they get stretched out so that we can retighten them. Because real ropes take us a lot of maintenance, which is why you don't see real ropes as common with wrestling rings as you do. This is your ASMR content for today. So here's some of our padding. As you can see, it looks massive, right? And then you see that it's the size of the top of my finger. That's about it as far as padding. That's all we get. I regret that. I would say 1 by 20. Actually, they were longer. I think they were like 21 or 22 and I had to cut them down, but yeah.
So I've seen rings, different people use different boards.
Yep.
Why?
It's really just based on the design of it, because some rings have maybe 12 boards total, but they're big, massive pieces like the padding. It's really just, it depends on how the ring is designed for the specific wood that's going to be used. So this ring is designed to have these planks instead of like massive pieces.
Why are there pool noodles attached to the steel beams in the center there?
So to reduce some of the sound, because if you take a look at the beams don't actually lay on top of each other. Sometimes after they've been used for a while, they're not on top of each other anymore. They start to bow because they've just been bumped and they've been worn down, so on and so forth. So to reduce the sound, actually what WWE does is they use a lot of padding and mats in between the beams so that the beams aren't hitting each other constantly and it reduces the sound. So instead of paying for those expensive mats that they use, I got pool noodles and then I put it in between the beams just to reduce the sound so that when we're running across, the metal's not just hitting each other the entire time. Spring rings used to be the old rings. We're talking like 20 years ago. So the problem with the spring rings is the only area that gave you the ability to have a little bit of give in the ring was the middle. So that's why you hear all the time the side of the ring is the hardest part of the ring because there's no give, or all of the bumps are supposed to happen in the middle when you're taught that in wrestling school. Well, that's also because the rings were made that way, so only the give was in the middle. But now rings have been designed differently. Now with these beams, because there's a lot more give on other parts of the ring, now everything doesn't necessarily have to happen in the middle. That's the way that everyone is still trained, that most of the bumps happen still in the middle. That's where you're gonna have the most give, but now at least it's a little bit more flexible around other parts of the ring. So I think the way that the rings have transitioned over time is much better.
Hey, Kay, this ring is gigantic.
Yes, it is.
Because it's what size?
This is a 20 by 20, baby.
Which is used by?
Every big company, WWE, AEW, and House of Champions.
What's the smallest ring you've ever been in?
Smallest ring I've ever been in was a 14-foot ring, a 14 by 14 ring when I was touring overseas in the UK. I'm pretty sure maybe some of the rings were 12 or 13 foot, but yeah, 14 by 14 was probably the smallest.
What's the biggest difference in working in a small ring like 14 by 14, 16, 18, and a 20 foot?
The best comparison I can give you, imagine taking a shower in your normal shower. Let's say that's a 16-foot ring, and then taking a shower the size of your bedroom is like taking a shower in a 20-foot ring or wrestling on a 20-foot ring. So 16 to a 20, two completely different sizes.
Piece over there.
Yeah, that's our big Bertha part. That's the heaviest part of the ring right there. Because if you see, that's where all of the support beams go. So that's where the extra knobs go in and holds the entire ring together. So that's why it takes 4 or 5 of them to carry it.
The real hardest part of the ring.
Either the posts or the side beams. The thing that has to be metal to make sure that that ring doesn't collapse. But surprisingly, it's actually easier to carry than what you expect. Like they are heavy, but since they're so long, if you just bend down and put it on your shoulder in the right spot, like you can actually just pick it right up. Don't worry, Coach got it. Don't worry. Coach got it. All right, guys, thank you for joining House of Champions. That was all of the layers of the ring. Now you know exactly how to break down the ring and why we break down the ring and why we do it the way that we do. It wasn't that bad, right, guys?
Yes!
I didn't think it was that bad.